Hey everybody, this is Resident Yes, and I'm so looking forward to this week's episode because this is our first crossover episode where we did a recording with another podcast, In The Nook, to try and find out how do we bridge the gap between sort of mainstream ABDL culture and specifically in this case, gay ABDL culture. And I think we had a really awesome conversation about it. My audio is a little bit weird on this one. So we did it on Zoom, so it's going to sound a little bit different than some of the other Love and Brief episodes you've heard, but I hope you hang in there and love it and enjoy it. I think it's a wonderful discussion, and I can't wait to hear what you think in our many social media streams. I just want you to comment and tell us what you think about how do we bridge the gap between the mainstream ABDL world and specifically the gay men's ABDL world. I think there is so much more to discuss here, but first, I'll let you listen to the episode. Enjoy. Welcome to Love in Brief, a brief ABDL advice podcast focused on issues of love. But Teddy, I got to tell you, this week is not going to be brief, nor is it necessarily going to be focused exclusively on issues of love. So I've just nullified everything I said in the intro.
Well, hey, love for community.
That's true.
Yep,
that's true.
Yep.
And
everything's about love, RY. Everything's about love.
In the end, it really is. Mm-hmm. I am Resident Yes.
And I am Teddy.
And we have a show that has been in the works for quite some time because today we get to sort of merge shows. It's like one of those, I don't know if you guys remember when you were kids, but like they would do a crossover episode where like all of a sudden Family Matters was on Who's the Boss or whatever the hell. You know what's funny is anybody under 30 is like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, I've got a little bit of a younger perspective. I've got the Fairly Odd Parents and Jimmy Neutron.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Thank you. It's hard because I'm 100. Anyway, this is one of those crossover episodes. We are so excited to bring you our new friends from In The Nook onto our podcast and us onto theirs. So as you're listening to us, if you're listening through Love and Brief, you're actually also listening to In The Nook, which is super cool, and vice versa. So let me do our intro, and then we will invite our friends to do theirs. And I'm going to invite Noah and Fancy onto our show, and I'll start with you, Noah. The question we always ask, coming out of the gate, tell us about your love.
My love is always community. I love building community. I love being part of community, and I love forcing people into a community.
Forced community.
That's
into
right.
Everything to do with it. I love it. Very cool. And Fancy, tell us about your love.
I don't know. I love a lot of things. I love the bitch. If you haven't listened to our signature episode, it's Switchy and Bitchy. Noah is switchy. Nice. I am bitchy. So I will say I love to bitch.
Nice. Well, your love for bitching is welcome here on Love and Brief. And I also have when was the last time we did 3 co-hosts? I guess it would be
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
Yep. But I think I'm a guest. I decided.
You've decided you're a guest today?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, this is Lola. Lola, tell us about your love.
Oh, no, I've never answered this question.
You've never had to before.
My love is for feeling into one's own body and finding love right there.
Ooh, that got deep.
That's good.
That's my love right now.
Feeling into one's own body.
Yeah, embodiment. I'll stop talking about it. Actually, I will never stop talking about it. But
you will not. I love
it. Yeah, that's what as the new year has started and we're all doing, trying to beat these winter blues. I've been really trying to do some self-journaling and some yoga and some meditation. And I'm finding there's layers to me I didn't even know were there. And I love that.
That is
so
awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, that's way deeper than what I was thinking. I'm just glad our 2 podcasts are missing, but that's
also espresso martinis lately.
Can we?
Oh, love.
Yeah.
Shall we?
I'm here for that as well.
Okay.
I'm totally in. And we're going to talk about the content of today's conversation in just a little bit. But this is fun because we're doing a crossover. So it's like playing the theme song to one show and then playing the theme song to the next show.
Da-da-da-da.
Noah and Fancy, do y'all want to do your intro and we will join you?
Sure. I didn't write it out, so I'll just do something off the top of my head today. Hello and welcome to In The Nook pod. I'm Noah Gold. I'm here with my favorite bitch, Fancy. And today we are joined by 3 extra special guest judges. Welcome to Teddy, RY, and Lola from Love in Brief. I actually feel like Fancy and I are sitting across from 3 mega celebs. And usually I'm like micro niche celebrity. But this is exciting.
We're all celebrities.
I love the concept of a micro niche celebrity. That's great.
Aren't we all kind of micro niche celebrities?
I am a speck on the butt of the tail of a micro niche celebrity. And
every time someone's rude to me, I'm like, do you know what gay diaper boys think of me? No, you don't.
I'm kind of a big deal around there.
Right. Yeah. I'm kind of a big deal to 36 people.
36. So good.
I did have a question for all of you, actually. What are you wearing?
Oh.
And on this podcast, it means, you're so funny, Teddy. On this podcast, it means, what diaper are you wearing?
Well, right now, I am wearing a pink Megamax.
Oh.
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
A favorite.
Yes, I love a Megamax. Like, I live in them. They're so good. And RY/my daddy, he likes the pink.
I do like the pink. Yeah. I'm so disappointed in myself that I came to this podcast unprepared for that question. I'm wearing boxer briefs that have like a little extra cup for your balls that she gave me. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
It's like an extra sewn in pouch for your balls.
Yes.
And they're in like a space theme. Does that count?
It could be worse.
That counts. That's yeah.
What was the last thing that you wore that wasn't that?
What was the last diaper I wore?
Yeah.
It was a blue Sunkiss.
Oh, yeah, you were.
And it was spectacular.
Yeah.
Sunkiss. Oh, yeah, that's a recent discovery of mine. Yeah, Sunkiss are pretty good substitutes.
They have
they stopped making small, though. I am mad. Yeah. I'm going to write a letter to the editor about it.
Yeah.
That's rough. But yeah, I got to go with Lola there. The Megamax, white Megamax.
Oh,
that's my jam. It's my jam.
Yes.
Love a good Megamax.
I'm the only one on this podcast that has to.
Well, we haven't heard from Fancy.
Fancy.
What are you wearing?
It sounds like we are all in the Megamax realm here because I'm wearing a black Megamax.
No way.
Actually,
all different colors.
By pure coincidence, I am wearing a North Shore sweatshirt and a North Shore t-shirt.
Actually, yeah.
This is just a giant commercial for North Shore.
Wait, I have the North Shore water bottle.
Oh my God, this is getting ridiculous.
I love
guys.
it. Noah, what are you wearing?
Oh my God.
Yeah, you are wearing a North Shore sweatshirt.
Oh, I am. Yeah, because I was cold.
I'm sorry this turned into a commercial for North Shore.
Brought to you by North Shore.
Yeah, we aren't getting paid for it. So
what?
Well, we are.
Yeah, you guys are. Okay, well, it worked out great.
So this podcast is half sponsored by North Shore.
Yes.
I am wearing, my favorite brand, not to be an outlier, my favorite brand is Kiddo, and I'm wearing the ones that say play across the top back. Love.
I actually haven't tried those yet. Those are cloth backed?
No, they are plastic back. They're just cute, and they say like play or something cute like that in like block letters across the back.
That's cute.
Mm-hmm.
I feel so cool right now that I told the internet and all of the people out there that what I was wearing on In The Nook.
I know. So cool. So here's the thing, Noah and Fancy, and I'll say this also to Newsy, who's not with us tonight, but we have listened to your podcast and really enjoy your podcast. Yeah. And it's really cool to get to be on your podcast. I feel like extra special tonight. So thank you for saying yes.
Yeah. We feel the same way, and I'll say yes to anything.
Yeah, we've been working on this for, a few months now. And Fancy, I think you first reached out to us. It took us a little while to see the message in our Instagram request, but we got there. Yeah. We got there.
Yep.
And, scheduling is always a bear with these podcasts, but we made it work. So very excited to come on here and have this this crossover themed episode here. And I think, you know, we'll really dive into some deep topics too. I mean, I mean the premise, Fancy, that you presented to us right off the bat was, you know, let's try to find a way to bridge together different parts of the community. You know, there's of course, we're all ABDLs. This is all one big community under that umbrella, but there's also some subgroups too, you know, and from the way that you put it, you know, our audiences are kind of in different areas sometimes, you know, and so we'd love to kind of hear a little bit about, you know, maybe from your perspective, what your audience is, what kind of, you know, target market or audience you have. And then we can talk about ourselves too a little bit, and our, you know, our podcast, and then just kind of dive in and say, like, what are some niche things about your side of the community, so to speak, about ours, and, you know, compare and contrast, learn from each other, and maybe tear down some of those barriers that have been built up, you know, maybe not even intentionally, to approaching others if you're at, say, CapCon coming up or at a local event.
Yeah, that's perfect. I wonder, to that end, how do you all think about who listens to In the Nook? Who is it, and what do you tend to focus on?
I think personally, I think a lot of the audience that we see or hear from are people within the queer community. Not necessarily that's the only part of the community that we interact with, but I do think that is a big draw for the topics we talk about, you know, because we'll dive into even like drag race and, you know, just bar nights, things like that. And I think where I would really like to see is like more of this crossover, more of the interaction between our kind of little niche portion of the community and, you know, the straight community and, you know, the trans community, because I think we get some of that, but not as much as I think we could all learn from each other. Noah?
Yeah, definitely skews gay, definitely skews male. And between Newsy and I think that a big contingency of our listenership is very horny, because Newsy and I are very sex forward, and we both have a Just for Fans accounts. We're both what we would call sex workers, maybe. And so I know that some of our episodes that have done really well are very horny oriented. And so sometimes I'm like, which is actually why we rebranded to In the Nook Pod, so we could do some more programming that was not Newsy talking to someone and being horny with them on a podcast, which is exciting in some ways, but maybe not what I want to hear all the time. Yes, fun. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting to think of like Love and Brief, and the types of people who recommend Love and Brief to me is never a gay male, right? They're they're like, Love and who? Love and what?
Yeah, right.
So it's exciting that we get to share listenership and hopefully have ears on each other.
That's my hope too. I mean, it's the same where, like, whenever I share podcasts in the community, and I say, okay, I'm so glad you love Love and Brief, here's a handful of other podcasts, that I imagine people sort of segment themselves based on what's for me, right? And the same way with the folks who you might say Love and Brief to, and they say, I've never heard of it, because we have these channels that I think ultimately are fairly artificial. Like, we're all in the experience of being folks with an ABDL kink together.
Yep.
And that can be expressed in 1,000 different ways, but I don't know that it is exclusively expressed along lines of gender and sexuality.
Right.
So how do you think of our audience, friends? I mean, I'm looking at you, Teddy. I'm looking at you, Lola. How do you think of the folks who listen to Love and Brief?
I think it's just almost like general purpose. Like, you know, I don't really try to target one specific audience, but what tends to happen, I think, is a lot of the quote straight side of the community. I'm thinking like, you know, DDLG dynamics, you know, people that like maybe business casual folks that are coming out to a munch for the first time.
Business casual ABDLs. We are for you.
Hey, there's a subgroup for that.
I love that. The business casual ABDL.
You know, like and you know, I mean, I think it's just those who are in maybe like a vanilla relationship and struggling with, you know, how do I find acceptance of this side of myself? But, you know, ones that aren't really out there in person, doing all the things, and maybe aren't, as sex forward as others in the community that are actively out there going to events. That's kind of the way I see it.
Yeah.
ROI, I mean, you started this thing in 2018. I would love to hear kind of what your view of that is. And Lola, you too, as somebody who's been on the podcast now for a couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, I think of it as it is really targeted toward folks who are seeking some sort of advice or some sort of next level of growth in their love for themselves. And then as a function of their love for themselves, their love for their community, their partners, the people around them. So I think you're right. I think it's folks who intentionally seek out a way to grow. And sometimes I am that person and sometimes I'm not, right? Like sometimes I just want some fun. And I've noticed that like if we do a show that's called like the diaper show or the all poop show or whatever, like
have we done that one?
That one hasn't come up yet. That's
we have done. That was a long time ago.
Maybe we can rework that one.
But when we do a show that's intentionally sort of tantalizing, like we do get a lot more attention. But I think the show is mostly about how do I take the next step in my love for myself, my love for my community, and love for others with an ABDL kink, right? It's very decisively with an ABDL kink.
Yeah. Yeah, I think from people that I've heard from that many people have found Love and Brief, and they've told me in their words that it feels like the first community that they've had, even though they're not necessarily interacting, right? They're not talking with us in a way, but they feel like that we are their community, which I think is so awesome. And I think that goes right to, the heart of what you wanted to do with, I mean, you put love in the name, right? You wanted to bring love and acceptance to the community, no matter who they are, right? In the ABDL community. So I think first and foremost, that's kind of, I think we tend to have people who are just looking to find more about themselves and to find community and acceptance in that. And then I do wonder if, we have more of a quote unquote straight listenership, because for a long time, it was you and RNT were on the podcast. And so people tend to be like, well, I recognize that in my, in myself. And now it's fun. Like, I think, we are obviously a hetero looking couple, and we are, but I also am queer and have a girlfriend. Right. So I hope that my hope is that I'm starting to bring a little bit more of that insight into Love and Brief. Yeah. But it's hard when it's not part of your experience, right? To really talk to that. And I think people resonate with what their experience is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good way to put it. And I think if this exercise here today can help us broaden our audiences into other parts of the community, then that's great. Because I think both of our podcasts have a lot to offer everybody out there. Especially if you're out there and just lonely, not really out there and in person doing any events yet. If you just hear voices out there, and now here's maybe another podcast that you can add to that, that's just going to help you on your own journey. I mean, that's my whole goal with all of this. That's what I hope Love and Brief can be. That's what I hope In The Nook can be. Just to reach those out there who need a voice.
Yeah. And I don't know about all of you, but I am always listening to the voices in my head. So it's just how you end up on a ABDL podcast.
That's true. That's how you end up in this space. Yeah,
we all just really make it for ourselves. Is that what you're saying?
I might be the only listener to Love and Brief. Yeah.
Right.
So when you guys get together to do In The Nook, what is ultimately, what are you hoping happens? Because I know that there is a devoted following. I know that there is a ton of positive energy, positive sexual, or sex positive, I should say, energy, and also sexual energy. But when you're recording, what do you hope happens?
Fancy, what do you hope happens? I just hope we get through a recording
in a timely fashion. It's not half the time we're recording and it's like, oh, okay, well, this hour has gone by.
Yeah.
Well, so Fancy and I, we started with Switchy and Bitchy as a guest spot on Newsy's Nook, and Switchy and Bitchy was originally just a Twitter live space for Switchy and I for Fancy and I to just chit chat with people. Because I also, like, while I was just staying up really late playing video games, I was like, well, gosh, I wish I could just chit chat with people and talk about nothing. And so I did. I would just start a Twitter space, and then Fancy would join, and we would chit chat. People would listen. We'd let people come in and out. And then we turned it into a podcast show where we would just talk about sort of current events, but really our thoughts on things happening in the community or in our lives that I know affect community. And at the same time, I started hosting and creating events for the community, and so was Fancy. And so we had a lot to talk about in terms of community building, and how different they are for us as someone in a big city, someone not in a big city. And so I guess my hope is really just for people to listen, learn a little bit. Maybe they get like a little backstage pass at what it's like for me, like running events, because I'm always going to one, so I'm always talking about them.
Who's always talking?
And I'm always talking. That's right. But I am always hoping that people are finding a way. I'm always hoping that it's like an in for community.
Yeah.
Every time someone who's not part of an ABDL like community, let's say they're just a leather kinkster, okay, and they're like, oh, I saw this local diaper blah 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 happening. I thought about checking it out, but I didn't know what to say. I say, you tell them you're friends with Noah Gold. They'll let you right in.
Oh, I love that.
And so usually it works. But I'm always like, you should just use the same way that I think you should use Love and Brief or In the Nook Pod as your into community. You should just say like, oh, do we all listen to this? Do we know these people? That's already one connection.
Yeah.
Fancy, what do you hope for?
I think that, my goal for the podcast and, as kind of coming on board to really try to push the podcast forward was to kind of break down the barrier that we see and, gain and learn from other portions of the community. We talk about messing, on the podcast. Messing's not for me. It's never been for me. But, it's great to hear others talk about, how they connect with it or how they connect with the AB side of the community. I'm also a DL. So like I don't get into little space. Like I don't get into that mindset. So it's great to find and build community with all these other groups within the community and learn from each other. And that's kind of been my goal for the podcast, is to kind of be able to grow and learn as a community together.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I love that.
Me too. And it's working, right? Like when somebody tunes in and all of a sudden maybe they're like you and they're a DL and they hear about an AB experience, or they don't like messing, but then they hear about somebody else's experience. They get a little bit, their worldview gets a little bit broader. Not that they adopt that practice, but now they understand somebody else a little more.
I feel like every time I listen to In the Nook, I have a little like gay ABDL primer. And I get to learn more about like what I think there are just things that are more prevalent or more popular or more, in the zeitgeist in one part of the community versus the other. And I think it's really fun to like learn and hear about that. And I'm like, wait, maybe I want to try that thing, or like maybe I should go to Blue Sky. I don't know. Maybe I should do that. Right. And so I think being able to just open up like different perspectives and different spaces for other people is like really important. And I think that's something that you guys do really well.
Agreed.
I also wonder about this this divide. I described it earlier as artificial, but it's not. I mean, it's not artificial, right? Like we naturally.
It's not artificial at all. I
mean,
we
subdivide for reasons, right?
Absolutely. I think we could go to any event where there are straight and gay ABDLs, and you could cut through that divide.
Yeah.
You could swim through that divide, right?
Right.
It's pretty intense. And at Capcom, it was last Capcom was my first Capcom, and I did not know it would be as serious as people were like, oh yeah, there's a lot of straight people who will be there. And I was like, great, the more the merrier.
Oh, okay.
For me, it's like, I'll talk to a ham sandwich if you said it in front of me. But like, I didn't realize that it would be like, oh, we're not even we're not hanging out in the same spots at the same time.
Right.
But like, we should.
But
what
like,
are we doing?
You know, that was my experience too. Yeah.
Who's actually the best at merging the groups is the DC ABDL group.
Yes. Yeah.
They're the best at it, and it's because their leaders are all bisexual.
DC.
I was gonna say, and then here's me, the bi in the corner that like is like, I don't know where to go.
Maybe you're our ticket in.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, Noah. Though DC Dino and Cappy do a great job. The other leaders there. I mean, that's exactly where I felt the most welcome, and I've learned so much about other aspects of the community. Is just meeting those folks. And I can echo the same thing. I mean, I went to Capcom. I've been to 4 or 5 of them now, and every time I'm just kind of surprised at like how like there's this group over here and there's this group over here. Yeah. It's like we're all in this amazing experience. Who would have thought like this would be possible? When we were first coming out into our adult lives and and our own journeys, and now this crazy convention space, and we're still like being separate.
Kind of clicky.
It's yeah. So
I struggle to call it a clique, right? Because I could just as easily go up to someone, and this is usually what I do. If you want to say hi to someone, you just compliment something about them. It's the easiest thing. Yeah. But then right after, I'm like, oh gosh, now what? I've used my one line.
Now what do we talk about? I do wonder what is behind that. So you describe sort of a moment where maybe you're talking to other people and they're like, oh, and there's going to be a lot of straight people there. What is that a warning? Is it like a heads up so that you prepare for something emotionally? Is there something that maybe straight people could learn about the experience that you're preparing for, or that other gay people might be preparing for when they find out straight people are coming?
Oh, gosh, it's hard. I mean, it's hard because in an ABDL space, you're like, sure, straight people will be there, but also we'll all be in diapers, so it won't really matter.
Right.
I mean, you're never safe from like a homophobic remark, no matter where you go. So that's a little, but it's not what you're preparing for. But you're like
part of being the queer experience.
It's just the queer experience, right? You're going to an event, okay. But it's more so part of the conversation is like, okay, is it a lot of gay people? Is it queer people? Are we talking like gay men only? Are we talking lesbians? Like, where are the lesbians? I literally can never find them ever in the ABDL space.
Nope.
But right.
We would love to do an episode, but
I know they're here. I've talked to several lesbians in the ABDL space, but they tend to keep sort of a low profile, even when I do meet them.
I don't think they go to big events usually either. I found.
Or they just don't speak up and say, that's who I am. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. But yeah, it's just one of those things in terms of preparing emotionally for what could happen. Is a little bit part of like who's going to be there, what types of people go to these events.
Yeah. I wonder too about a sense of safety, maybe is the right word, or maybe it's just, am I at home? If
comfort.
Comfort maybe is a better term. That if people are concerned that maybe they won't know how to act or may do or say the wrong thing. And I can say from my own, literally exclusively my own vantage point, that I would be perhaps nervous if I were wandering into a space that was really a safe space for gay men, that I may accidentally violate something in that safe space and make people feel less safe or make people feel like I shouldn't be there. And I wonder if that creates some of the gap too. So on the straight side, if that creates some of that gap as well, if people say, well, that looks like it's a space where people feel safe and I don't want to interrupt that, or I don't want to become a part of the problem.
Would you if you saw an event happening that was at a gay bar, would you go?
I have, but only with people who are queer.
Oh, interesting.
And actually almost exclusively with gay men, because the bar that I tend to go to is mostly gay men. So I probably wouldn't go alone, because I would feel like I am intruding on a space that was intended to be a safe space for gay men.
I've heard him say this several times to me, even when we go to the gay bar together. And, you know, I think RY, you tend to think it's not your space.
Right.
But not in like an exclusionary, not like the gay people are saying, don't come in. I think you are just overly cautious that you don't want to step into a space and make anyone feel unsafe.
Yeah, right. Right.
I think it's really interesting to hear that perspective, because a lot of times, especially from Noah and myself, we're planning events that are inclusive and, you know, have to create that safe space for queer, trans people. And we see, you know, in my personal experience, you know, hosting takeovers in different cities, I always try to do a bar night, you know, and the people that are going to work with, you know, kinky, you know, culture really typically are gay bars, or maybe a dungeon space. And for whatever reason, that is where I've seen the divide happen, is you start to introduce the queer kind of spaces to the more of the straight groups within the community, and they don't want any part of it. And to your point, it might be that they don't feel comfortable, or they feel like they're intruding on that space. So it's really good to hear that different perspective, because from our perspective, from my perspective at least, I'm only seeing they're just not taking part in these spaces or these parts of the event because they're queer coded.
You're seeing the hesitancy, but not necessarily why.
The reasoning behind it. Yeah.
That makes total sense to me. I do know that, like, when I've been invited into queer spaces, and particularly spaces that are mostly for gay men, I have been welcomed and delighted to be there and surrounded by love. And by the way, the best drink specials I've ever had in my life were at gay bars.
You can always get a Jello shot. And also, they're always hitting on you. Always. And they're so upset that you're not gay.
Well, that's the other thing, is I don't want to give anybody, you know, like, be like, I'm sorry, you know, but like.
But I don't think they're mad about it. I think they're just like, okay.
Yeah. But I meet the most amazing, friendly, loving, open, kind people. That what I'm most aware of is not my hesitancy to be there because I don't want to be there. It's my hesitancy to be there because I don't want to disrupt a great thing. And imagine if 80 other guys just like me had followed behind me. Now it's not a gay space anymore. Now it's just another bar. And haven't we fucked up the plan? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's
because I kind of feel that too with you know, like women only spaces, right? Like, you don't want to just wander in there and be like, yeah, no, like, I'm technically, you know, agender or something. Like, I want to make sure that people feel safe in their own space there. So I kind of see it the same way, right? If you're going out to you know, some club that's really catered towards, you know, gay men, then I would feel uncomfortable because that's not my own expression. Same thing with, you know, going to a women's space. So I wonder if that's, you know, like the more generalist somebody is, you know, I guess the way I think about it is, you know, if you're gay and ABDL, then you have not just, you know, an ABDL community that you identify with, but also a gay community that has great dedicated spaces like gay bars. Versus if you are a straight cis male without an ABDL kink, it's kind of hard to find that space for you in society because there's no subgroups, you know, around that identity in general.
They're kind of all for you except for the ones that aren't.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But
actually, we just had our monthly diaper happy hour last night, and someone was talking about the dolls, which is what you call a trans woman. It's a positive, right?
Okay.
You're a doll.
All right.
Okay. So someone was talking about, because we usually have like maybe a few, last night there was a whole like there's rarely a table at this bar. We host at like a gay dive bar, so it's a little kind of trashy. Anyway, there's like a table and there's quite a few dolls and then a few straight women. And somebody was like, gosh, there's like no dolls here. I said, look right to your left is a full table of them. Are you insane? Which is new. Actually, this is only new within the last 4 months or so, is this like large group of queer and trans women and straight women coming to our diaper happy hour, which does take place at a gay bar that is actually in New York City known to be the Bear Bar, which is funny that the dolls are coming through. But diaper happy hour has gained enough notoriety in the city that people just can come and feel comfortable.
So they're not part of the ABDL community, but they're coming.
No, they're like
okay.
Yeah, they're ABDL.
Okay.
And also queer women or trans women or straight women.
That's awesome. More
ironically,
women.
This is like our biggest issue in New York City, actually, and I've talked about this on the Nook, is that diaper happy hour and the munch, which the straight people munch is basically just what we call it. They happen at the same time on the same day of the month.
Ooh,
wow. So we're like creating a divide right there just by doing that.
Yeah.
Yes. And
interesting.
So we have inadvertently like forced this divide. Like not that you have to choose, because I don't care one way or the other. But we had a straight guy at the bar last night, and people usually find, because I'm the host, right? Or one of the hosts, and people will find me and be like, there's a straight guy here. There's a straight girl here. This is their first event. They have no idea where to go. So I have to like go on FetLife, find the New York City caregiver little munch, which I know all the other straight people are at. And I'll be like, okay, just so you know, next time you can come here, but you might find what you're looking for
at this
actually here.
So how do we like not do that? How do we make one big, and I think New York City, I mean, there's space for everyone, but we live in a much smaller city, and it's like, we just want to have community wherever we can find it and wherever will host us, because nowhere will host us. You know what I mean?
I can echo that, trying to make community there.
I know.
I looked around the whole city. There's really nothing. There's not even like an LGBTQ center or club that would be open to this.
Wow.
And so, in that city, it really was a struggle. And I mean, just take what you can get at that point.
Right. And so I find that our stuff here has been a mix of straight and bi and queer and, trans people, because like, this is all we got. But I do find I get very jealous that we don't have a really big, we don't have a leather bar. We have a couple of gay bars, but they're, as you're describing, kind of like dive bars that maybe would host us, but probably not. So we just don't even have kinky spaces for anyone to come to.
Shania, how many people like show up to your munches?
I got about 25, 30 people per month or so when I was.
You could host it.
Just to be clear, it was in a diaper store, like a retail store. That was the one space that we had there.
Yeah, which was very small.
Yeah, here we are complaining, but we happen to have
a diaper store.
Only 3 diaper stores.
Yes, but I would love to be able to host like a happy hour, and it's I have tried to contact a couple of bars, and no one wants to even talk to me.
Yeah.
Sure. It's hard. I will tell you that it's the most successful night at the bar of the month.
Is it really?
That's what I've heard in DC too.
Yeah.
Is it really?
We get huge turnout. I mean, the turnout is crazy.
What do you get?
Last night was slow at like 50 or 60.
Whoa.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Incredible.
To give you guys an idea, Chicago at Jackhammer, the Diaper Up event, it's one of their busiest nights of the month every month, or every time they host it.
Wow.
And I know
we've tried to get to that one. We haven't gotten there, but we've been trying to go. Yeah,
it's a great event. I know this past weekend they had a line around the block for over an hour.
Stop it! Get out of here!
Apparently they had around 400 to 450.
So we just have to get the bar owners to talk to these other bar owners.
Amazing.
But you can, that's what you should do though, is you should use big cities like Chicago and New York City, because here's the difference between a big city and a small city. In a big city, everyone in New York City is going to come. In a small city, everyone from all the surrounding cities are going to hear about this event and drive their asses down and get to this event.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was hoping to do in this episode, and you guys, I mean, we're a whole room full of episode producers, so y'all can shoot me down on this one. But one of the things I wanted to do was ask, what do you think straight people are getting wrong about the gay community, and vice versa? What is it that maybe that gay people are getting wrong about the straight community? And I'll say, Love and Brief is not a straight podcast, right? But we happen to have more of a generalized focus. One of the things that I'm hearing is that maybe, and Noah and Fancy, you can tell me I'm wrong, maybe the presumption that we don't want to be in those spaces is incorrect. Maybe that we want to, we're just not sure how to while still being respectful of the space. I'm just throwing that out there. That was my own experience. Like, how do I show up in a space that is full of amazing gay ABDL men without ruining the vibe? You know what I mean? Like, without fucking it up.
So you have a room full of people who are being as authentically themselves as possible. And that is all we're asking you to do when you walk in the door.
Yeah.
But you have to do the extra like brain work of shedding off a layer of shame, right? Because queer people already are like, well, if I'm going to be spat in the face on the subway, I may as well look good while doing it. So you have to kind of go into the bar unafraid, because we can smell fear.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've already done the work of dealing with that shame, dealing with that
right
fear. And
I'm like, if the worst thing that happens is someone sees me wearing a diaper, it's like, okay. I do think one of the biggest differences between the straight and the queer community is the sort of like public versus a private event. I think private events always attract a straighter audience every single time, including in New York City. We have Kenzo, who's my co-host for Diaper Happy Hour. Kenzo hosts his Littles party. Straight people galore at the Littles party. I've never seen them before, never heard from them before. Never seen them at Diaper Happy Hour. They're never going to come to Diaper Happy Hour, right? Yeah. But they're coming to Kenzo's Littles party because it's a rented out private space. Versus Diaper Happy Hour, Johnny, Joe Schmo can walk in off the street and say, hey. Yeah.
That's such an interesting insight. Yeah. And
I think that's a theme throughout, is like just things that I've noticed, and anecdotally, I just think straight people are afraid, where queer people are not, at being
even through it.
A little bit more of an authentic version of ourselves.
Yeah. Fancy, what were you going to say?
I definitely see that as well, especially at even larger conventions. CAP, I mean, you see a lot more sex positive, just free kind of this from like the queer community, whereas you see, not to say repression, but you do see a lot more of the straight community, the cisgender community, that are very, worried about, safety, or, being in a picture, or, and that's something that has been kind of like so crazy to me over the years, is like how drastic the like backlash is, or like the pushback about, the pictures, you got to cover your camera, you got to, we're all in these like spaces together. You are just as exposed as I am. If you are going to be exposed, I'm exposed. So I think the worry that the straight or cisgender community put on these events is also kind of part of that like divide.
You know what I Fancy, I actually think that is more so about trust. I think queer people know how to trust each other in a space like that, and maybe the straight people don't. And prove me wrong. Love to be proven wrong.
Totally fair.
Yeah.
No, I wish I could.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to overgeneralize here, but
Absolutely.
I think that being open and free and authentic, and maybe authentic to flaunting it, that is celebrated in the gay and queer community. That is not celebrated in the straight community. That is, you are ostracized for that, right? I grew up and spent most of my life very good Catholic girl. Like, you cannot, you can't wear a crop top. No fucking way, because you're going to be ostracized. That's not okay. So I think that's something that the gay community has, you guys are winning at this, right? Yes. Because you have created that. You had to. I mean, I want to go into a whole history lesson here, but you had to create this space where you were open and free, because you were going to possibly just be murdered if you weren't, or want to die, right? Right? So, and the straight people haven't had to deal with that. So I think that's a big part of that, is that, yes, I think everyone should be authentic. That's like one of my biggest things in life, is like, be your authentic self, whether that's, a cisgendered person or a gender nonconforming person or whatever you identify as. But like, in society in general, one of those communities celebrates it and one does not.
Absolutely.
I really think it does. You mentioned religion. I mean, queer people are told, and they hear constantly growing up, there's something wrong with you. So we have to deconstruct our authentic self from the bias of religion or stigma at a younger age, just to be authentic. Yeah. So I think that is a portion that, cisgender straight communities don't have to kind of do until they get into, they find things about themselves that they necessarily don't, fit in this little mold that you're told your whole life you have to be. You have to be the perfect wife. You have to, be the breadwinner. Those societal norms aren't lasting as long with the gay community.
That's a good point.
I can absolutely echo that too with my own life experiences. Yeah. I grew up with, I've talked about this before on our podcast, but I grew up with a very, conservative sort of family, and was pressured to be, the provider of the family as a male. Right. And so I went along with that. I went to school, I got the big job. I worked my butt off for 10 years. I got married, did all that, the life path stuff. And then I finally just woke up one day, I was like, this doesn't feel right to me. And a big part of that, I think, was the ABDL kink that I had never fully reconciled with. And then I started to like, okay, well, I am into this, and I am different, and I there's something else in here that I haven't discovered yet. And lo and behold, after some journey, I discovered I am agender. I don't want to fit into the societal binary buckets that the gender roles and all of that. I don't want to be the provider. I want to be emotional. I want to cry. I want to hold a stuffy, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so, but you're right though. It took me, 28 years to get to that point, because I could kind of coexist in the cis world, the professional world, present male, no questions asked, until I really had to tackle it. And I think joining the ABDL community, going to in-person events, meeting all sorts of different perspectives is what helped me get to that point. So I hear you, Fancy. I'm like, you had to go through that at a younger age, and I've gotten to that point now too. And I think we're all better off for it. But I do wish that the ABDL spaces, the straight ABDL spaces, we're calling them, was help people get to that point faster. Because I think a lot of times you go to an event, there's really not, you're kind of just going there at like a happy hour. It's like like for work, there's really not much talk about kink. There's not like, I actually identify as this. it's like, how's the weather? Or, oh, the sports ball team down the street is doing great.
Sports ball. That's my favorite team.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I worked in an office before in a big city that was big on college football. And I had to just look at the line score, the results of the game every Sunday night or whatever before going to work on Monday. So I could do the water cooler talk. And I'm like, I don't want that, So I guess I'm curious hearing some of the, the broader themes of like gay ABDL events. What's the vibe? Like if you were to get over that hump as a quote straight person and go to a queer event in the ABDL community, what are the vibes there? Like, what would you expect to see?
Just come in, have fun. I mean, a lot of times it's just a matter of, we gather for community. We kind of let inhibitions be damned and, have drinks if you drink, partake in whatever. I mean, I think each event has its own kind of niche. If you can get to Diaper Up, I think that event has such a kind of a cool separate vibe because they have a dungeon. They have an area where, there's coloring books and, gaming, stuff like pool. So, and then there's a dance floor. And you have 3 different bars on each. So if you want to drink, you can. So, I mean, there's kind of something for everyone at that event. The Diaper Happy Hour is also a really neat event. It's just kind of more of a social gathering, I would say, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's almost purely social. Sometimes we close some curtains for people to have fun behind, but that's few and far between. Yeah, it's very like you come after work, you could get patted there because we have diapers to give away, or you can bring your own, doesn't matter. And you just hopefully make some friends, find some friends. Oftentimes people are like, my coworker is here. What do I do? I'm like, that's crazy. You're here for the same thing.
Yeah. Maybe start a conversation. That's
right.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, you can easily, instead of like a work happy hour that's like, how's the weather? How's your wife? It's like, oh, what do you do for work? And like in New York City, you can have like crazy different jobs, and then you can talk about your crazy different jobs. It's not just like we all work for this one corporation, and in this, it's not like Quicken Loans in Detroit or whatever. Right. So like, for instance, like I work in TV, and so I'm always meeting like a lawyer. And it's like, why? How? I didn't know there were this many lawyers in New York City that come to Diaper Happy Hour. But
lawyers love diapers. That's just.
Do you dive into like the more meat of it though? Like your kinks, your expressions, your lived experiences.
Yeah, because especially gay man to gay man, or queer person to queer person, you're like top, bottom. Are we doing something here? Are we flirting? Like everything's kind of flirtatious without any necessary follow through.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of like always sort of trying to get to know people in a way that they might ask you to go home with them without needing them to do that in the first place. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it sounds very forward, like you're
correct.
You're both looking for something, and you're not just holding it in, waiting for, the third, fourth time you meet each other to kind of bring these things up. It's like right off the bat almost. Like, here's who I am.
Right off the bat, especially if you think someone's cute, right? You're like, hey, you look great. What kind of diaper are you wearing? Or, oh, what's your favorite kind of diaper? And then you can kind of, but now you're talking about the crotch area, right? Like already. So you have
we've moved to the crotch conversation.
We've already moved. Like we're at the crotch. Oh, do you just wet? Do you wet and mess? And
you can have that conversation. Yeah.
Yes, easily. And all of those little pieces give you insight. Like, oh, if you wet and mess, okay, this person clearly has no inhibitions. Hello. Speaking from experience.
I'm trying to imagine a conversation like that at I guess we're using the title straight
We are.
ABDL.
I know, and it's upsetting because
It is
it's
upsetting.
not quite accurate, but
it's
yes.
not quite accurate, but we all have to live in a world of labels. God damn it! So here we are. So like I cannot imagine that happening at a straight ABDL event because, first of all, like women for good reason are usually much more. We have to be more on guard in society, right? And especially around straight men, I find, right? And so I think that if someone came out and I would be fine because, like, whatever, I'm a weird person. But most, I would imagine, women at these events would like freak out and leave and never come back if somebody asked them right away.
Literally,
right?
the advice we've given people on our podcast is don't go start a conversation with
That's
what's
so
your diaper, do you wet or mess, right? Like we've exclusively said don't do that.
Yeah.
There is tact to socializing that I think queer people inherently develop.
Yeah.
That the more heteronormative people don't.
Yeah.
Well, and it's different rules of engagement, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like when you go home and you talk to like your relatives, I'm always like, what are you all talking about?
Yeah.
at all. Actually, this is something I wrote down earlier when Teddy and RY were talking about the types of audiences you think you have or what you hope for them. I mean, we obviously the audiences fit into what they're drawn to. And so they're going to listen to whoever they're going to listen to just based off of the topics that we talk about.
Sure.
And so, of course, at some point, In The Nook and Love and Brief will talk about maybe the same topics. But as a podcast geared toward advice like Love and Brief is, I'm not sure I would necessarily click yes to Love and Brief because there's a straight man trying to give advice about sex or intimacy. And to me, that's like, what does he have to say about sex or intimacy that is even going to relate to me, which is so close-minded. Of course, you have a lot of things that could relate to me because our sex and intimacy involves diapers and role play and
right.
ABDL.
Yeah. I mean, that makes total sense to me, right? Like, of course, why would I be the one to give you advice on sex and intimacy? And in many ways, I wouldn't be and shouldn't be.
But in some ways, you could be and should be.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that we try and do, sometimes well and sometimes not, is to speak to the more shared human experience of what is it like to feel wholly different than the people around you, to be attracted to something that even you may not be able to make sense of, and then how to love yourself to and through the experience of embracing that, which I think queer people may have already done most of that work. And so that honestly, that may be not so helpful to people who have already come out or reconciled who they are, whether they've come out or not. And for people who have not, maybe it's more helpful. But then we do tend to talk a lot about how to make friends and how to meet community. But what you're describing, Noah and Fancy, is that the rules of engagement there may be a little different too. And it may be that my advice about love for self could apply and love for community could apply, but how to engage your community may be wildly different.
Probably wildly different. Yeah.
I will say that one thing I've experienced when I am invited into and get to participate in queer spaces is I always leave feeling so much lighter because I have been loved. The second I walk through the gate, nobody's asked me to be anything other than I am. And that's not something I experience day to day out in the world.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
Well, and one thing to her point was like, she made a mention about, being a woman in the community. I mean, and not feeling safe maybe around straight men. That's why we see as queer people, straight women flock to gay bars. They come in, they can feel free. They're not worried about maybe getting, drugged or anything like that. I'm not, I stopped myself there. I mean,
you can say sexual assault. It's okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Well, you can come to a space where you're not worried about being hit on or maybe being sexually assaulted or just put in a unsafe position, really. And I think that's it's kind of hard to, wrap your head around, like, wow, women and the gay men can kind of have the space, and then as a straight cisgender man, you don't have a space that you can just kind of go and have that kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Teddy, have you been to a gay bar?
I have not.
Okay.
I would love to try. I mean, hearing this conversation, I would.
Yeah, I was just curious I wonder if you would feel like on guard or not. Like I feel on guard in some bars, and when I go to gay bars, I don't feel on guard.
Teddy would
I
be
would love to try that.
Eaten alive. Eaten alive.
So maybe he would be on guard.
Oh my gosh. Well, he wouldn't have to pay for a drink all night.
That's true.
That's a ding, 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 right?
I mean, 2 drinks and you're done anyway. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
bar.
They pour heavy.
Cheap and
they are the cheapest and heaviest drinks in town here for sure.
cheap and heavy pours. Rock Bar in New York City will get you drunk off your ass on 1 to 2 drinks.
Got some bad news. I don't drink.
Teddy doesn't drink. So it makes sense that you haven't, because you haven't really been to most bars, right? But I was just curious if you had been to a bar.
You don't have to drink alcohol.
I've been to
right.
I went to a leather bar in Austin. They run a great munch there.
Oh, right, yeah.
Every month, and that was such a fun environment. Not quite the same, as maybe what we're talking about here, but it was a really fun experience. And that was actually a great overlap with the community. There were straight people there were gay people there, trans folks. It was great. So I want to try to seek that out more. I think those would be really welcoming spaces, because to your point, I do feel like I'm on guard a lot. My job is very vanilla. I have to present male to a lot of my clients, to family, and it's tiring. It's so tiring. ABDL and this podcast is a space where I can be my full self, and it sounds like that could potentially be that too.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be the only space where you can feel your full self.
Yeah.
One thing I will, I guess, sort of warn our listeners about is that if you are like me, a straight cis male, and you're like, oh, cheap drinks and I feel accepted at gay bars, I guess I'm going to rally 60 of my friends and go to the nearest gay bar. Maybe that's not the best approach. Only in so much as I'm very sensitive about sort of like invading spaces that are sacred. So,
well, gay bars are not afraid to kick you out.
Okay, sweet.
That's the thing. Like if a group of straight men came and were just like, I don't know, rude, the owner would be like, you have to go.
Yeah, you have to leave. Okay,
like
well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's fair to say that, a straight man can go to a gay bar and, feel welcome as long as you are coming at it at a, with some respect and not, coming in and, kind of shitting on everyone there, or, being just disrespectful. I think that is kind of the, backbone of this conversation is, as long as you are being an ally to whatever community that you are like putting yourself in, I think you are in a safe space. But if you go in it at, disrespectful or, being rude or just kind of speaking out of turn, like, I think that is a different,
Totally. And this happens at my diaper happy hour anyway, where like people will come off the street and they'll either see what is going on and be like, not for me, and they'll leave, or they'll stay and they'll just sit in like a corner by themselves. And they're like, whatever, I'm here it's a Tuesday night, right? They're like, whatever, I made it here on a Tuesday. I'm just going to sit by myself.
Yeah.
A few times there's like a straight woman who comes in. It's not the same one, just in general. And people are like, who's Miss Honey over there sitting by the bar? And I'm like, I don't know who that is. Like, and I have to talk to her. Oh, I'm getting so nervous. And then I'm like, hey, I'm Noah. Welcome to Diaper Happy Hour. Like, are you here for this, or are you just here? It's just always, they're like, I'm just here.
No, I just needed a drink.
Yeah, and they're like, now I need another after this.
Now I need another.
I picked up on something earlier. You mentioned how, a lot of, I think Lola, you mentioned this, like a lot of females online or in general are kind of afraid of going out there. And I think it causes this interesting divide on the online spaces in the quote straight world, where most of the people out there are male or male presenting, and there's very little female representation.
Yeah.
And that has some pretty broad implications. I mean, not just on, like making friends, but on dating. For example, one of the common pieces of advice that we give, we being the podcast, being ABDL, Reddit, and so on, is that, maybe you should go date in the vanilla world and find somebody who's accepting and understanding, and you can bring that kink up to them and have somebody who at least, accepts, hopefully participates potentially, but maybe doesn't share the same thing. And it's just striking to me how well or how easy it is potentially for gay ABDL folks to come together, to find each other. And, I have some friends in that space, some really, really close friends of mine, and they've mentioned this thing called diaper boys to me many times.
Yes.
And I'm like, I have no idea what that is. Like, what is that? Can you just tell me what that is? Like, how do you all find each other so easily?
Yeah, it's just a website for gay diaper boys.
Oh,
yeah.
That's it.
It's pretty straightforward.
It's exactly what it sounds like. And that is you can search for people like around you. You can search for like last people who are online now. I wouldn't say it's not like Grindr style. That is like an app on your phone.
Grindr too. Yeah.
Sure. Grindr famously recently, Grindr had ABDL as a tag for about a week. It was like 2 days,
like
and then they took it off.
They took it off
real
Oh,
quick.
no.
They did.
Oh no.
Why?
But
what happened?
because actually this is a big ordeal in like content creation and like why you can have diapers on Just for Fans and not on OnlyFans, and it's based off of which country and which credit card companies are.
I'm also on Just for Fans, so I understand.
Yeah, you had to do the work.
Yeah.
Oh, what do we do? When's our collab coming?
I don't know. Maybe at CapCon. Let's go.
Okay.
But yeah,
I will throw my money at that one.
Me too.
That's what's funny is JFF is like diaper girls and diaper boys and gay boys. That's it.
Yes,
basically.
that's pretty much it. But yes, to Teddy's point and Lola's point, like the girls, they are sitting at home.
Yeah.
They're not coming out. But we are very lucky to have baby Misty from New Jersey come to.
We love baby Misty.
On occasion, she comes to Diaper Happy Hour. She brings a couple girls.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, finally, some tutus showed up.
Shout out to her Kinky Winky events. I've heard great things about that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually think she's doing a lot of good work in what we're talking about and trying to bridge a gap with the Kinky Rinky event. And Troy DL up in Rhode Island with the Rhode Island ABDLs. I mean, he brings the girls out.
Yes.
You want to go to an event with girls, you go to Rhode Island.
And his clubhouse event is great too. It's like 150-ish people, I think the last one was. And I heard great things.
What are we doing wrong down here?
Well, we don't have any spaces is the problem. Unless we have everyone in our house, which like we have our friends, but we can't have everyone in our house. Yeah.
But I do want to try, like, just point out, diaper boys, maybe Grindr, there aren't really an equivalent in the straight ABDL space. We have Tumblr, which is, all private, hard to make connections. We have Reddit, which is not really about individual people as much as discussion. You have FetLife, which kind of scares a lot of people off, in my experience, and that's about it. I mean, Tumblr, you have a lot of like content creators on there, same with maybe X, but there's not much actual place to meet individual people, to see who's in your local area, to see like, okay, well, this person and I have this in common, so maybe we should talk. It's almost just like a crapshoot. My best luck that I've had with making friends and connections is on my private Instagram, posting my travel stories from everywhere in the country, and somebody nearby being like, oh my gosh, I live here. Like, let's meet up or something. And that's how I've kind of made that jump into making real life connections all over the place. But that's not what everybody can do. So I guess what I'm taking away is like, wow, that's a really cool resource. Why don't we have that too? Why isn't there something like that equivalent for quote straight couples and straight ABDL?
I keep saying this, the gays are good at organizing.
They really are. It's amazing.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because we use social media as a tool to get people out.
Yeah.
Not to keep them in in their homes on their phones, right? Like I use social media to blast our NYC ABDL events, and then everyone spreads it, hopefully, and comes to the event. That's the goal, always. I want people out of their homes into a community space.
Plus, I think the number one barrier to showing up to stuff is not geography and it's not gas money. These are relevant, but they're not the number one. I think the number one thing that stops people is fear of what happens when I get there.
Correct.
And
who's going to see me walk in?
Who's going to see me walk in? And am I going to get, am I going to be accepted when I get there?
Right.
And
I don't know anyone. What do I do?
Yeah. And it sounds like that in gay ABDL spaces, these are not as big of concerns, that you can walk in and you can assume that you're going to be okay, and that you can have a conversation that maybe with somebody that you've never met before that will be okay, and who you are is probably okay. Am I hearing that right?
I think it's all of the tools we've previously discussed and this combined. So like you're already good at the communication style of being online, and so you've probably already talked to people who live in whatever city you're either visiting or you live in.
Yeah.
And one of the people who you've been talking to, friendly, flirty, doesn't matter, has found out that there's an event near you and is like, get in, loser. We're going to the event. It's a yes or a no. It's not I'm going to decide an hour before. No, someone's going, and you're either going to meet your friend or you're not going to meet your friend.
Yeah. That makes such a big difference. And there's not this sort of blanket of fear of like, I'm not going to know anybody, because you've already covered that.
Right, because you're probably going to know somebody, or you're probably going to recognize somebody from the internet.
Yeah,
frankly.
Yeah. I mean, and realistically, I mean, as queer or people of color in the community, I mean, we have more likelihood of something happening on the way to the event than at the event.
Right.
In a safe space.
Right. Yeah, that you've already dealt with the fear and the reality of walking around every day in the world. Yeah. This event is not the thing.
Right. Yeah. The big scary thing is not going to an event where there are friends.
It's funny because like we can look at that, like I can see even on your faces you describe it, like RY. This is not the big scary thing. The big scary thing is walking out the door every morning. And yet for me, that has not been my experience, right? So I know so many people who maybe are not used to that experience, who are like, no, the big scary thing is showing up at the event. I've never done anything scarier than that. That is the scariest thing I've ever done in my life, and I'm not sure if I can do it. And it makes so much sense to hear, you know what, we have already tackled scarier things. In fact, we probably tackled scarier things this morning on the subway.
Yeah. Wow. And early on in Diaper Happy Hour's life, it was the first year or so. I mean, Kenzo and I every month were like, we couldn't believe A, of all how many people were coming, but B, of all how many people we didn't know. Because between me and Kenzo, I mean, it's a spider web of people that we know and can like bring to a party. That's why the bar was able to say yes to us hosting an event, because we can bring people to pay for drinks. But the people who were coming were not people we knew. And so it'd be like, a good amount of people we knew, but they're all the regular people who we've known for 8 years or more.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the people were people who were just coming out of the woodwork of like, oh, I'm 22. I've never been to an event before. I saw what diapers are on the internet and it interested me, so I came. Or 60-year-old somebody, never been in a diaper in front of another person before, has come to Diaper Happy Hour in New York City. Like experience. I was like, you didn't want to do this one-on-one with someone first? You just wanted to do it all? Okay, do it all now. Why not?
Yeah. There's so much about sort of the practice of reconciling who you are with yourself, reconciling who you are with others, taking a risk of stepping out into a community that I think it sounds like for many queer folks has already happened. This is not the first time you're doing it. And so you can just show up. And for others, like that 60-year-old you're describing, they're finally just like, fuck it, I'm going.
Yeah.
And they're doing it all at once,
Which
right?
I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
I love.
I love it too.
Wow.
So
I'm
This is
always
so
I'm
enlightening.
definitely a better late than never kind of person. When people are like, this is my first event, I'm like, and I hope it's not your last. Like, this better be the first of many, and you better try all of them. And I hope you travel around the East Coast for all of them.
Yeah. Isn't that so rewarding to be there, to see that first moment where they build that courage up to come out and finally start to be true to themselves and explore their full selves? That to me is like the best moment. And it's like it's why I love running events.
Absolutely. Or their face when I'm like, you can take that diaper home with you that you're staring at, foaming at the mouth for it.
Right. Aw.
I mean, that's one of the greatest like accomplishments and like joys of running takeovers is being that, scared person's first event or first really interaction with the community, because part of takeovers is just exploring different cities. It's not necessarily, just diaper focused. I mean, we typically try to do, fun stuff for littles. But it's really about gathering community and exploring different cities. So I think and it's also not a, convention that people are, jumping into headfirst and, there's 4,000 people there.
Yeah.
Not to mention the cost too, the barriers to entry.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
I do wonder, as we think about this sort of crossover episode, if there was anything that y'all could say to Love and Brief listeners as sort of a summary message, or even just like, hey, if I could speak to all of you about something, what would you want to tell the folks who tend to listen to us? And then, by the way, fellow Love and Brief co-hosts, I'm going to ask you the same thing.
Who, me? Okay.
So, to Noah and Fancy, is there anything that you would love for Love and Brief listeners to know about In the Nook and about the community that you tend to serve?
I think I just want people to know that they should join whatever community speaks to them, and while also trying out other communities. I think it's important to broaden a horizon, even if you have before, right? I mean, I hate mushrooms, but I try them all the time just in case I might like them for whatever reason. They're
I love
so
that.
gross.
We had some amazing mushrooms tonight. You'll have to have her make them for you.
Oh, yes,
We
please.
cooked them. We were not,
Well, I
not
do.
the same kind of
They
mushroom.
have different kinds of mushrooms, but yes.
Well, now I'm just thinking about food. No, but I can't imagine I'm going to say something that you haven't said already, but because I have listened to Love and Brief many times, and I know that you're all super well spoken. I think you all have wonderful things to say and a lot of food for thought in terms of loving the self, which I appreciate. And I also like to sometimes tack on at the end of our episodes. But I do think that like loving the best way that you can serve a community is to love yourself fully and not make other people do the extra work of loving you. Because it's not work for your friends to love you, right? But like when you're entering a space and you kind of don't want to be there and you're sort of already like, oh, no one's going to like me. You're putting all of this extra work for people to prove that they like you.
Yeah.
And they don't need to prove that they like you. You actually have to prove to yourself that you like you.
That's really good.
That's good advice.
Well
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. Well, this is from a serial person. I mean, I don't always like myself, right? So you have to remind yourself. You have to like look in the mirror and be like, okay, here's something
It's
I
like
like.
life's work, right?
Oh, that's a daily practice for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fancy, anything you want to tell those who maybe haven't listened to In the Nook yet, but listen to Love and Brief?
I would say just don't box yourself in and limit yourself to one side of the community, explore the community as a whole and give yourself the chance, the opportunity of, interacting with all forms of the community, whether it's, the messing side of the community, but it's the DDLG side of the community, or, just, not to like piss play, or, just diapers in general. Try to kind of see what is special about all aspects of the community and see where you can grow and kind of take pleasure in the community as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
I love that advice.
Yeah.
How about you? Have you thought about it, Lola? Do you have any words for our friends? Okay, we're going to come back to her. Teddy Bear, anything you're thinking for those who listen to In the Nook that maybe haven't listened to Love and Brief yet?
I mean, I'll share some of my takeaways from this episode. I mean, I did not know how this would go going in, but I've learned quite a bit. I've learned just how ubiquitous that idea of shame and repression is in the society that we all live in. How much the fear of coming out as your full self, whether that be your sexuality, your love of diapers, or both, how much that pervades our own, mentality, the way we see ourselves and how we present ourselves to the world. And it's striking that, a lot of the topics that we talk about in Love and Brief are in the present, like people struggling with those things in the now, versus it sounds like maybe the folks that listen to In the Nook went through this years ago on their coming out journey, coming to terms with their sexuality, and maybe also with their diaper journey as well. And so it's like, look at all the commonalities that we all have as ABDLs, as humans living in this world. We have much more in common than we have, separate, we have not in common. So next time you go to an event, whether it be your local munch or whether it be at like a gay bar or at a diaper store or at IHOP, I don't know, or you go to a convention like Capcom coming up, just go and introduce yourself to everybody. We're all ABDLs. We all have this shared interest and hobby, and we all have these shared world lived experiences. Maybe they came across in different ways, but I guess that's kind of my main takeaway, and that I think that I want our audience to hear. And that's about all I have to say, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. Lola, am I allowed to come to you?
Yes, Daddy. Yeah, I think I'm going to kind of piggyback off what Teddy said. The thing that's really striking me right now that I want everyone to hear is the world is really hard right now.
Yes, it is.
And there are so many things out there trying to divide us and make us into tribes again and push each other down. That's all we're ever fed, it feels like.
Yeah.
And whatever ABDL space you come into, whether it be on Love and Brief, listening to In the Nook, going to Diaper Up or Diaper Happy Hour or your local munch, just take the step and find community wherever it is, even if they don't look like you or they don't identify like you, because I promise it's going to be way better than the bullshit in the outside world.
100%.
You're not going to find that division there.
No.
Yeah.
No. I don't think so. That's not been my experience.
Nor mine. It's helped me in ways that I can never express, fully. To be who I used to be to who I am now. I could not have gone on that journey if it wasn't for my kink and people like RY putting that message out there of self-love and acceptance. And I think despite all of the terrible things happening, there's still these events out there. There's still people organizing. And if you can get out there and do it, make it happen.
Make it happen, Captain.
I think for me, like, I'm taking away a lot from this conversation, but a couple of things. One is that if I'm invited into a space, to take that invitation and fucking run with it. Like, if somebody says to me, I want you here, you belong here, awesome, go with it. Like, I don't need to stand back and go, I don't know, am I going to fuck it up? Like, just go and bring my authentic self with respect and love.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Don't be
That's
a
it.
dick. But I mean, that's just good advice for life.
Yeah,
Don't go to
exactly.
Chipotle and be a dick.
Yeah.
But really, you know, be aware, of course, of not being a dick. But like, go and bring my true self. And I mean, it sounds so cliche given my name, but say yes, just yes. I do want to be a part of it. I've been invited to your space. Yes, I would love to.
Yes.
And why would I pretend to be anything other than a part of what you've invited me to? Absolutely. And the other piece is this takeaway that, like, my friends who have been through the experience of coming out as gay or as bisexual or as lesbian or as trans or as non-binary or as agender, my friends have something to teach me about what it's like to show up in a space and say, I'm a little nervous about bringing you my authentic self, but like, they've already been through that, and maybe I have something to learn about that journey, so that when I get all hung up about my weird kink, like maybe they've already handled some of that shit, and maybe my kink is not the scariest thing that anybody's ever faced ever, and maybe it's not the most important thing about me in this moment, and there's a lot more that I can bring to the table. So that's just an awesome reminder that my queer friends have maybe been over this hill before and can show me something about how to get over it now.
Well said.
So thank you for that. Thank you for those gifts today. Do you guys have a sign off that you like over on In The Nook?
No, we just go, goodbye.
Hey, that works.
I think we should give you the official sign off then this week, because I like that way better than ours.
I know. We should just do that.
That's way better than our sign off.
One thing I will say, we do try to, provide to listeners is where you can find each of
of course. I forgot that
social
part.
media.
That's helpful.
So, I mean, you can build community with these people.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Fancy, do you want to go first and share, and then we'll do round robin on this?
Yeah.
So you can find us at In The Nook Podcast on Blue Sky, Instagram, and X. You can find me at fancy.df3 or diapered fancy on all of those platforms as well. You can find my link tree for takeover events or, designs. Noah.
You can find me on Blue Sky at Noah Gold X Kink or on Twitter at Diaper Days Hayes. I used to have an Instagram. It was disabled today.
No, R.I.P.
Okay.
Did you disable it or they disabled it?
No, they disabled it.
A bunch of jerks.
Yeah.
That's a topic for an episode coming up. All the social media issues.
Zuckerberg. Teddy, how about you?
Teddy?
Yeah, personally, you can find me at Teddy Bear with me on FetLife or Teddy Bear _ with me on Instagram. Try to be on there more often, respond to messages. It's tough. And then I guess Lola. Yeah, how about you?
I am Lola and then some on Tumblr, but the last O is a 0 because I got kicked off of there. So I had to come back. And then I'm Lola and then some on FetLife as well.
And I am Resonant Yes on FetLife, Tumblr, and Instagram. And we also have the Love and Brief account on Instagram. I know there is also In The Nook on Instagram. So go follow just all of us all at once.
Yeah.
Don't ask any questions. Just keep doing that. And this has been absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
Even better than I imagined. I might have to break it into a 2-parter, but we'll see. So if you're listening to part 2, my apologies for not warning you up front. This is going to be a 2-parter. But I wish I had an awesome sign off, but I think that Noah and Fancy have the best one. So I'm going to leave it to you.
Yeah. All you have to do is this. You go, thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Oh, can I do it?
We can all do it together.
Okay, let's do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.